You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. So it's very wonderful for that individual connection, and it's often a good conversation starter because not many people have seen an instrument like this.
What was it called again?
It's called a Q chord. It's by Suzuki. Some folks have told me it's similar to an auto harp, but I've never worked with one, so I can't confirm or deny that statement. So some of the benefits to playing instruments, it can improve gross and fine motor skills and coordination with people who have had motor impairment or neurological trauma related to stroke or head injury. Instrumental ensembles can enhance cooperation, attention, and provide opportunities for practicing various leadership and participant roles. For those who have prior musical experience, it offers the opportunity to revisit previously learned skills, a renewed sense of pleasure and enjoyment. And of course, it can develop increased well-being and self-esteem in those who are learning to play an instrument for the first time, which is why I particularly like this little Q chord. Improvisation, for those who have never heard that term before, it's essentially the musical version of having a conversation. You don't know where the conversation is going. You might have an idea of the point you're trying to get across, but musical improvisation is no different. There's no right, there's no wrong. That's right, Terry, it just happens. And it offers a creative, non-verbal means of expressing thoughts and feelings. It is non-judgmental, easily approached, and requires no previous musical training. Where words fail or emotions are too hard to express, music can often fill that void. Another intervention we use is composing or songwriting. This allows opportunity for self-expression, ownership. We usually take a familiar song. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's from An American in Paris. I've got rhythm, I've got music, I've got my man who could ask for anything more. So what we often do is we sing the song through, so the melody is familiar, the words are more present in their immediate attention. And we start a conversation of, what are some things you've got right now? It could be very simple. You just had a very nice hot lunch and you've got a nice full belly. You could have a cozy bed to tuck yourself into at night. But it's amazing to see the depth that shines through in a lot of their responses. We then write it out on a whiteboard and we sing through their version and have a brief discussion afterwards to discuss and see where that might take us. And of course, listening. Listening can provide a sense of familiar and increase orientation to reality. So that's kind of the main core chunk of our music therapy sessions. And then we always end with our goodbye song. So long, it's been good to know you. I shake hands and redirect for the next event. So this is signaling that our therapeutic space is now finished. We are concluding, or I am concluding my assessment for that session. So when I go out around and shake everyone's hands, I'm paying attention. Has their mood changed from the hello song? Has their language or verbal expression shifted? And as well as just thanking that individual and if they have any closing comments that they'd like to share or not. So that's the main chunk of that. So maybe, how are we doing for time? I'm not too sure.
It's 2:58.
3 o'clock.
Okay, so we've had these lovely posters posted around the neighborhood saying ways in which you can support our residents. I just have one or two that I'd just really like to highlight today. One of which is being, I know as an instinct after a song is finished, our instinct is to clap. I would ask that you do not initiate clapping at the end of the song because it kind of reiterates that I'm the performer, I've just done something that you need to thank me for. Now, if a client or a resident has initiated clapping, by all means support them in that action and continue that for them. But I do ask that please, when possible, do not initiate clapping. I often will say, thank you so-and-so, and then continue on, because that's not the focus of why we're there. We're there to make that music together. Let me see, there was one other point. Oh yes, I know it's very hard. We have a very big neighborhood, and we all have our own responsibilities and tasks to be done. But when possible, if you could move your conversations away from the group. As you know, many of our residents have hard of hearing, or they speak very softly. And if someone is trying to contribute a thought or a memory, it can be extremely hard to value their contribution and their experience when someone is having conversation a few feet away. Most of the time it's great, but just be mindful of that would be of absolute benefit to the residents. Now, I know I threw a lot of information at you this afternoon. Thank you very much for sitting with me today. If you have any questions, please let me know. If I don't have the information for you today, I will find it for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we clap?
Well, I know the residents love your classes.
I know.
Oh, we do.
We all do, actually. Yeah, we all sing along. But
I know, I often hear a lot of you singing. It's great. Yeah.
is that okay for us to sing along?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't want it to sound like you can't be a part of the experience, but
Good to know, though.
yeah.
The class, like, I wouldn't have assumed that.
Yeah.
We're excited, right? And it's so natural for us to applaud
Yes.
performers.
Yeah.
When we don't experience music therapy, we experience performers.
Yes.
So I never would have known that. And I would have found it supportive of you, or I would have thought it to be
Yes,
supportive
I know, and that's
of
why I
you,
wanted to
right?
just quickly
Yeah,
touch
no,
on
it's
that
good
one
to know.
today. Because I don't, you always feel rude. Oh, please don't clap, but I know it's a natural
Well,
instinct.
we can spread that.
See, and that was the other thing with the radios. When I come in the morning and I go around and the dining rooms are quiet, people are
Yeah.
just getting up. And I always put the radios on because I think
Perfect.
it's too quiet. And I think it's nice to hear music, and they're used to listening to radios in
Yeah.
the mornings back in the day, right? That's what
Yeah.
they did.
That's what they
So
did.
I
That's
turn
all
it
they
on,
had.
and it's all they had. And so I put on, usually at the one station that I find that's got a lot of nothing, like, a little mix of more soft music, but
Yeah.
it's a good mix, you know,
Excuse
like
me.
50s, 60s, 70s, I
Yeah.
think it is. It's like 104.3 or something.
Perfect.
The Breeze or
Yeah.
whatever. But they'll sit there and sing along. Some of them,
Yeah.
you'll see them tapping their feet
Yeah.
after a while, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Neil even doesn't,
Ah.
he doesn't, because he's a lot younger.
Yeah, so the
And
music isn't
them
quite
playing,
the same.
You know, Elton John one day, and I said, Neil, you know who this is? I know you do. And he, Elton John. You know, really quick, it came out of his mouth, but
Yeah.
he did. I said, I knew it. I knew you knew who it was.
Yeah.
But, you know, it does. I think it's huge music
It's
therapy.
really amazing.
It is unreal.
Could you please tell us about your new project with the Bell Choir?
Yes. We've used it a little bit within a session, but we haven't tried this before. So something we're going to try in April is called a bell choir or tone chime choir, handbell choir. There's a lot of different names for it. So it's typically for residents who have a bit of higher abilities because there's a little more coordination and following directions involved. But typically, everyone's gathered, we sit in a semicircle, and they have bells. I wish I had them today. They're made of aluminum, and how they work is you bring them up, and then you bring them down, and there's a little hammer, and it rings the bell. It's hard to describe other than that. So it involves some physical movement, some coordination, and of course, waiting for your cue. There's a few different ways it can be facilitated. The one I tend to do is we sing a song together, let's say Edelweiss. Once the song is done, I say, "Oh, great, it's our turn, let's play the bells ourselves." So it'll go 1, 3, 7, 6, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So as I direct them, I make eye contact, and they ring their bell. So
each bell is a
note.
right?
So
Yes.
da, da, da. So it's as if they're a human piano. They're making the melody themselves. Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very fun. And the other option is doing chords. So they're singing and then they play their accompaniment. It's a little bit trickier, but it can.
Let us know when you're doing that. We'll see if we can capture it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's in April. We haven't quite confirmed the time yet, but it's just the first time we've done it.
Do you have a favorite story?